the 29-year-old Zimbabwean political activist who has been at the forefront of defending human rights in Zimbabwe. Now, Mako, as is fondly called, started his fight as a student activist at the University of Zimbabwe during the late Robert Mugabe, getting him expelled from the university. Now, he continued with his campaigns against human rights abuses and spoke up against the Mnangagwa-led administration. He continued to confront the government as a youth leader in the main opposition, MDCA. This led him to being considered an enemy of the state.
Although Mako has had over 35 stints in prison in the past decade, his arrest last year has been the longest he has had. Now, the young activist who was released on bail on the 7th of January after spending over 10 months in Chikuribi prison faces kidnapping charges with an alternative charge of participating in a gathering with intent to promote public violence over allegations that he chain-locked employees of Impala car rental inside their shop in central Harare while protesting the arrest of student leader, the one known as Takudzwa Ngadzore. Well, before his last arrest, Mako had started the hashtag People Power campaign, which aimed at raising awareness to the people of Zimbabwe that the power to freedom lies with them. Well, we wouldn't go too much lengthy, or I would say we wouldn't spend too much time telling you about this story. We do have our eyes and ears who's out there in Zimbabwe. She joins us this morning, Lala Ngwenya. Thank you so much for being here on Breakfast Central, Lala. Let's take a look at this story. One man gains his release, but there are too many counts and too many charges that he will have to face.
Absolutely, Joe, you are right. The young man faces too many counts, too many cases. Ever since he came out, he's been in court since Monday. You know, he's in and out of court. And before I go any further, actually, I should also extend his apologies to News Central. He was meant to join us this morning. However, because he has got a court case currently happening, so he couldn't join us. But he's promised that as soon as he gets time, he would definitely make time to come in and share a little bit more about his journey and his time in prison.
Right. Now, Lala, I mean, he has been in prison for 11 months. Can you tell us what the family members, I mean, right now that he's been released, can you tell us how excited or how sad, what kind of mixed feelings are the family members and his friends at this point in time expressing?
Okay, you know, Mako, as is affectionately known, Makomborero, really his release this past week, you know, it drew so much attention. There was actually like a hero's welcome in the CBD, mainly from his friends, his comrades, as they say, his colleagues, his family, and obviously members and supporters of the Movement for Democratic Change Alliance, that is the MDCA, led by Advocate Nelson Chamisa. You know, there is a general celebratory mood, especially in Harare CBD, because that's where the stronghold of his supporters are, or rather the stronghold of MDCA supporters are. And this young man is also very instrumental to MDCA's youth politics. He's one of the most valued activists in MDCA. So there's celebration for those that stand for his cause and for those that believe in his cause.
All right, as the MDCA come out to make any statement prior to his release and even after his release, and at that, now that he has been released, what is the way forward for him? Is he pushing straight into politics as well?
You know, the young man has been at this for so many years. I mean, he started during the late Robert Mugabe's regime, and he would speak out even, you know, when he was still in university at the University of Zimbabwe. I remember one year there was a graduation happening at the university, and he stood up with placards speaking against what he calls human abuses in the country and lack of freedom of expression. And actually that got him expelled from the University of Zimbabwe. Since then, he hasn't gone back to the University of Zimbabwe. And that happened during the Mugabe regime. Then later on in the Second Republic, led by Emmerson Mnangagwa, he continued, you know, speaking out against what he calls, you know, gross treatment of Zimbabweans and lack of democracy in the country. And this is what got him, actually. This is what earned him the name enemy of the state, and also got him to spend the past 10 months and extra weeks in Chikurupi prison. As for MDCA, like I said earlier, they are celebrating, they are happy that one of theirs is out, and obviously they are rallying behind him. And they are calling that all these charges that are being leveled against him should be dropped, because they argue that, this is Zimbabwe's constitution stipulates that everyone has a right to freedom of expression and has a right to freedom of protest against certain things that they are not happy about. So this guy was simply this young man, was simply exercising his constitutional right. And as maybe I may have not mentioned earlier, Makomborero is a firm believer of peaceful protests. So he says he's not a violent person. He does not believe in violent protests, but he is all for peaceful protests. And his protests had been very peaceful. However, he was charged for inciting violence after he managed to get, some young people to actually rally behind his cause.
All right, Lala, we hope to have Makomborero as soon as possible, whenever he has the time, to be live on News Central's station as well, especially with the by-elections that will be coming up very soon. But many thanks for joining, Lala. We hope to see you soon.